Welcome back to Market It with Atma, where we share the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. Today we have on the show a very special guest, Miss Angel Mosley. She is the founder of Cybase Risk Management, a company devoted to helping small businesses and nonprofits protect themselves from cyber threats. I'll let Angel tell you more. Welcome, Angel.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you today.
I know. I couldn't wait for this day to get here.
Tell me more about, one, how you even came to, one, want to be a business owner, and two, why this industry and what led you to this?
Absolutely. I'll do the business owner part last.
Down the road, yeah.
So my story, my backstory, or origin story, as the young people say now. I actually, when I was here in Dallas, Texas, graduated from Duncanville High School, and I was one of the first graduating class of a media program that they had and still have to this day.
Wow.
And so I found a love for media, radio, TV, film. Went to college for it, believe it or not. Around my sophomore year, I was hanging out with Janet Jackson and Ice Cube, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Wow.
I was doing internships, doing all of that. And so when you do an internship and you're in college, you think you could ask anybody anything.
Of course, right.
I happened to wander into the computer room and started asking the guys that were sitting there, how much money did you make when you got out of college?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, we graduated making $60,000 a year, which back then was phenomenal, but $60,000 is still a pretty good salary.
To start off,
yeah.
That's very reasonable,
Absolutely.
Right?
So I was like, 30,000, 60,000, 30,000. I've always liked computers. So
if I didn't before, I may now, right?
So I went back and changed my major to computer science, graduated a computer science degree. And I actually started off like literally crawling under desks, connecting cables,
Isn't that part of the whole cyber, almost IT? I don't want to call you IT because I know you're not, but that's where you start, right?
Back then,
yeah.
That's where you started. Now it's a little different, but back then, yeah, that's exactly where I started. And so I don't remember what year, 2000-ish,
mm-hmm.
There was this thing that came out that was called Sarbanes-Oxley.
Okay.
And we call it SOX now. It's a regulation. And it's the regulation that basically says that if you are a officer of a publicly traded company,
okay.
If you remember Enron.
Yes, I think everyone does.
Okay. So Enron is the cause of this particular regulation.
Mm.
And if you cook the books, you can go to jail for it.
Wow.
So when that regulation came out, I was working for a law firm. My boss at the time was like, hey, we need you to go find out what this thing is all about. So
trying to get on the front end of it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Went to training for it, got certified as a CISA, which stands for Computer Information Systems Auditor. I had to think about that.
The acronyms in IT, I cannot keep track of.
So that's what started me down this cybersecurity journey. And it really started with what we call GRC, which is Governance, Risk, and Compliance. And it's the foundation of cybersecurity. It's the rules and regulations that say, thou must do thus and so.
Like the umbrella rules of everything.
Exactly.
Okay, I gotcha.
Exactly. So everything we do starts with a foundation or a base, which is where Cybase comes from. So
I love it.
Cybersecurity baseline controls. But yeah, that's how I got started.
Wow. So over 20 years of experience.
Yes.
That is incredible. And so when you started out, the internet was known, right? But not as prevalent as it is now, right? I mean, it seems like it's moving faster than I can wake up in the morning.
Yes.
So why are you focused so much on these small businesses and nonprofits? Why is that your focus?
Thank you for asking that. So throughout my 20-year career, spent a lot of time in corporate America and working for large corporations.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I realized that the weakest link is what you need to go after. And so I don't think there are any large corporations that don't rely on small companies.
Right. You always have to have somebody kind of lifting it up, right?
Absolutely.
It takes a village.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and large corporations are required, to contract and offer business to small companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have to rely on what we call third-party risk, so these smaller companies, they introduce risk that the larger companies sometimes are not aware of. And what I realize is it's really the smaller companies, medium-sized companies that need cybersecurity and don't always have access to it. So when I decided to, quote unquote, start my own business, right, become a business owner, I just looked back on my career and was thinking, there's a lot of stuff I can do, but what do I actually want?
Right. What's your passion?
Right, exactly. Because it has to be that thing that wakes you up in the morning, that gets you out of bed.
I agree.
But gets you out of bed in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where my passion is small, medium-sized businesses, nonprofits, right? I have a heart for that.
It's almost like those small businesses are the cracks in the large corporations. So if you have a small hairline fracture, it's going to crack eventually, right? Yes. So the nonprofits as well. Nonprofits are a whole nother beast in terms of everything. They're doing a lot with little. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So you're focused on that. How do you reach that audience? Because I know that nonprofits are so busy with so many different things. So how is your outreach towards those areas of the industry?
I am learning to get out and network, and that's actually been very successful. So just stepping out of my house, I have a home office, stepping out of my house and getting on platforms like Eventbrite, right, and seeing what else is out there, meet up and market to them. So as I tell people, what I am spending a lot of time doing is convincing companies that they need me. Because when you target small, medium-sized businesses, they think they're too small for the bad people, the hackers, to find them. And I'm like, oh, no. Yeah, that's not
almost the way you frame it. It's not so much convincing, it's opening their eyes, it feels like to me.
Yeah.
So you would say in-person networking and referrals are your primary way of spreading what you do and how you do it. Because I mean, when I think cybersecurity, I'm like, this is already over my head just with that word. Right?
Exactly.
So how do you approach it when you are in person?
Good question. So close your eyes.
Okay.
Imagine you just got a call from the FBI and they said that your company data has been stolen and it's out on the dark web. What do you do next?
One, I'm going to hang up the phone because I don't think the FBI makes phone calls.
They actually do.
Okay. All right. So go back after they call me back 3 times, maybe?
They validate themselves.
You're scared.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do. I have no idea. I would not know where to start.
Exactly. So that's what I do. And that question, and I'm a little dramatic, so the closing of the eyes is
no, it really does
effect,
help you really internalize that feeling of fear. Like, who do I need to help me?
Exactly. So what I do, going back to focusing on, I can do a lot, but what I actually want to do is the preparedness part of it.
Okay.
So when you are able to sit down and answer questions and go through a mock, a fake, a simulation scenario of an actual, I'm using the word actual and mock together, but a mock scenario that is put together as if it were real scenario, and you as the CEO of your company have to make decisions. So a lot of people think that the decisions are on the IT side,
right,
and the cybersecurity side, and that's actually not true.
Okay.
Information is what so IT stands for information, right?
Technology. Right.
And on the flip side of that, you have information security. they're responsible for providing information to the C-suite of a company. So your CEO, your CFO, your CIO, your CTO, your Chief Information Security Officer, if you have one, Chief of Marketing, believe it or not.
So they're almost the middleman.
HR gets pulled in. Okay. Absolutely. So I get those people in a room and we walk through a scenario that's tailored specifically to their industry and their company. So if they have, for example, a server called Superman, right? Because we love to name our servers funny names. And Superman houses all of their confidential information, their proprietary information, their customers' personal information, right? And all that's sitting on server Superman or server XYZ. I introduce that particular server into the scenario and I say things like, okay, CEO of the company, you just got a call at 8:00 in the morning from your IT guy or girl. And they're like, hey, something funny's going on. I'm not sure. I'll check you back and let you know if we, anything else happens. You get a call 30 minutes later. Oh yeah, there's definitely some bad actors in our environment. Right. I got my guys on it. We're trying to, get them out. Now, your decision that you have to make, do I notify my customers? Do I notify my employees? Do I need to call my legal department? What do I need to do? Right. So I walk them through all of those decisions. We spend 2 hours doing that. And then it gets worse and worse, just like a movie. Right. It gets worse. It escalates, right? And so then you get to that crescendo.
The climax.
Yes. Yes. And then, we go back down the other side of the mountain with, now we're cleaning up and all the things. So
wow, that's a great strategy though, to really put them through a real life scenario of their own personal information.
Absolutely.
So you're customizing strategies for these businesses that really work for them. You're not just saying, here's McAfee software, fix it.
Yeah.
You're actually walking these C-suite companies through what they need to know prior to the chaos happening, right?
Yes.
Now, in terms of when the chaos happens, are you coming in and being hands-on if it's one of your clients or not one of your clients?
Absolutely. So I offer that service as well. So that is, I tell people to think of me as the cyber fire chief. Yeah. So
no kidding.
When something happens, you want to have that point person that's kind of like a traffic cop, that's like,
level-headed,
right.
Directing people.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so that person serves as, we call the incident commander. And they are not necessarily what I call hands-on keyboard, but they're the ones that have gone through it several times. So they know, okay, this is going on. We need to bring this entity in. Call your your internal counsel definitely needs to be involved, but your external counsel, a lot of companies don't have it.
Wow.
There are other companies. So I am a one-woman shop as of right now. I can't do everything, but I do partner with other companies that do the things that I know need to get done in the midst of things like that.
That you vetted.
So yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for
that. Yes, absolutely.
Vetted, right?
Because you have to have a team. I mean,
yes.
My job, I could not do it without my team. I mean, we have somebody helping us right now that you just can't do it without, right? So you're not a one-woman show. But the fact that you vet them and you know that they're credible and they'll be available is another benefit to what you offer, right?
Definitely.
So now take me through what's to come. It looks like you have a lot of different upcoming visions or actual implementation of ideas that you're wanting to kind of expand on.
I do. Thanks for asking. So I have a nonprofit.
Nice.
I've had that since 2018, and we teach, and this is a we. It's not just an angel. We teach students in middle school and high school about careers in technology and cybersecurity.
Wow.
And we do that through summer camps, through after school programs, through, career days at school, just going out and talking to the schools, working with counselors, that type of thing. And with that, people always ask, do you do it for adults? And my answer has been no, because I like to work with kids.
Yeah.
But I've gotten that question so much, and then just out and about networking, right? Not even necessarily. Sometimes I'm out socializing, not don't have my business hat on, and people just ask what
You are
do.
your brand, though, right?
Absolutely. And so I did a post recently. The number one question that I get asked is, how do you get into cybersecurity? And when you ask people that are in the industry, almost everybody's story is completely different.
Really?
And yes. And that's okay. There's multiple ways that you can get into the industry. Okay. So what I decided to do was take that model that I do for the middle school, high school students and apply it to what I'm calling young professionals, not discriminating, as not age discrimination.
Right.
It's young professionals. And the word young is used loosely because it's people that are trying to break into the industry and also career changers. And so they may be in marketing.
Right.
And I worked with, and she has an amazing story, a young lady that was a chef for years and is now in cybersecurity, and she's killing the game.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter what your background is.
I mean, 20 years ago, when some people got into maybe cybersecurity or IT, either or, it's changed.
Yes.
It's ever changing. So even having a seasoned professional kind of go through this in the new day and age, cybersecurity is probably beneficial, right?
Absolutely. So it's a mentoring program.
I love it.
So I tell people it's not technology training because you can find that anywhere, but I do vet technology because there's unfortunately a lot of scammers out there when it comes to training.
Man.
You hear the commercials sometimes on the TV, they pop up on your IG, right, your Facebook. And not to say that the ones that pop up, because you have to advertise obviously, so not to say the ones that pop up are scammers, but sometimes they are. They feed on the fact that you don't know. And you're eager to learn, which is great. And so I tell even my students and my adults that you can break into cybersecurity without having a college degree, but you have to be a lifelong learner.
Oh, ever changing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even social media, we have a head of social media, and she's learning something new every day, it seems like. And we're shifting to so much AI. Digital.
Yes.
You say that with a little different tone. Tell me about how AI and cybersecurity are working together.
So I'll tell you how they're working together and against. So I'll start with it together with my company. So what I just told you about is my brainchild, right? The walking the C-suite through that scenario. I use AI to put the scenarios together. So they answer a questionnaire. I feed that data into an AI model that I'm training. And then it will put together a scenario specifically for that company in that industry. That's the surface level part. The bigger part that I'm working on, the yet to be, is being able to give them near real world answers based on their responses. So it'll be something like this. Based on your decision to do ABC at this time of the scenario, there's an 80% chance that XYZ is going to happen.
Man.
And with that 80% chance, if they don't like the outcome, then they can make another decision because we're sitting at a table walking through a fake scenario, right?
Absolutely.
And so when they make that second decision or third or fourth, it'll feed that data in and say, here's and it's all probability, right? There's nothing that's guaranteed.
Of course.
So, but it gives them muscle memory, I like to say,
Absolutely.
right? Because when you're in a fire, it's you don't know, you panic, sorry.
No.
You panic. So going through,
and you're right, that muscle memory, just like training our kids. When there's a fire, don't go in the closet. Get down on the floor. You remember stop, drop, and roll.
Right.
So you're training them to have that muscle, and you're really incorporating AI as a real benefit because the analytics and the information that you're giving them used to take days, if not weeks, right?
Absolutely.
And now you're able to do it more quickly.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful use of AI. Some people love it, some people don't. So I know this is a little off topic from what we discussed, but do you feel that AI has the same cybersecurity risk as, say, just creating a website?
100%. So let's talk about the against part.
Yeah.
So just the same way that, I'm a good guy or a good gal.
Right.
There's bad actors out there and they have access to the same, and they're training their AI models for bad things. And so what that means is there are a lot of security tools that have good AI baked in.
Mm-hmm.
There are security tools that people are building that have bad AI built in.
Everyone's worst fear, right? Is AI going bad.
And it's AI is a tool just like anything else.
Absolutely.
Like, people say, okay, a hammer, in a carpenter's hands is used to build a house, but a hammer in a murderer's hands,
completely different outcome.
But it's still a tool.
Yes.
So it's about, in cybersecurity, getting ahead of the game. And when the way that you get ahead of the game is that you prepare and you practice, and then you have a good plan so that when something happens, and we always say in cyber, it's not if, it's when something happens, you're prepared for it. You're not going to get it right. Nobody does. You're going to make mistakes. You're probably going to make mistakes that will cost you money, but you would rather make a mistake that may cost you $5,000 and not $50,000 or $5 million.
Absolutely. Being proactive in any business, in any area of your business, it's going to benefit you, right? And in this day and age, I think a lot of people, I'm really glad you clarified the AI and the example with the hammer, because so many people are fearful like they were with the internet, right? And it's like either you get with it and utilize how to use it appropriately, or you're left behind.
Absolutely.
And you're opening yourself to a lot of risk, right?
Absolutely. And so on the risk side of the house, the other thing that I've trained business owners, and I'm glad that there's most of the people that I know that are in cybersecurity are doing the same thing with AI, in that they are teaching the companies that are using AI what to put in, what they can put in and what they cannot. So when you use a publicly available AI model, that data, like I tell my students, when you take a picture of yourself that is not the most flattering, that you may not want your parents to see, it's out on the internet forever. Same thing with that data. If you're putting a proprietary forecast report, right, from your financials, because you want that model to do something different with the data and give you a predictive outcome, that's great. That's what it's used for. But if that data is tied to your company and it's for something that has yet to, be publicized, then you're at risk for a lot of stuff, right? You're at risk of somebody stealing the data. You're at risk of somebody using the data against you, and you're at risk, going back to Sarbanes-Oxley, of potentially facing some jail time because you put your company's data out on.
A lot of people don't know these things, especially I worked in the financial industry prior to this, and they give you so much training, but this is something that they don't, I wouldn't say don't quote me on anything, but you don't see as much on how to not get your company in a situation they can't get out of. So your real purpose is to, one, educate.
Definitely. That's number one. Yeah.
And two, to strategize on a customizable basis.
Yes.
One by one. So are you on site? Are you holding webinars to do these trainings?
I am. I actually have a webinar this evening.
Oh, wow.
Now the webinar this evening is on the career side. It's on that mentoring side. Okay. But I'm partnering. I have another webinar coming up with a partner company of mine. They produce firewalls, and so a firewall is that physical appliance that sits between the internet and your company, and it's kind of like a traffic cop, and it makes sure the bad stuff doesn't get in, and it keeps the good stuff that's supposed to stay in your network, right? Right. So they have created proprietary information that sits on that hardware appliance. And what I'm doing is being able to, the companies that are using their firewalls, being able to pull that data out of the firewall and then put it into those scenarios that we just talked about. And then they show them how to use that real time so that they can do what we call threat hunting. So look at that data, try to see if there's somebody bad that is trying to break in, and then know how to put those defenses up. So,
wow. Yeah. So as a marketing company, a digital marketing company, we utilize your services a lot. So, because we have clients that we have to protect, and a lot of people don't understand that. You're not just creating a website. So, these people that aren't certified, they may create you a website, but they've opened you up to all kind of risks because they haven't put that back in incorrectly. And that's something so important people have to know. I couldn't explain it to save my life, but that's why I call you, right? I mean, because if you don't have that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And it seems like with your webinar tonight, thinking about it, plumbing, AC and heat, those are forever jobs. I don't see us ever getting away from digital. So cybersecurity is really something that is job security.
100%. There are any statistic that you look, you Google, AI pull in, it's going to say globally there are millions of unfilled cybersecurity jobs out there. Now, you have to also take in consideration the market that you're in. Dallas happens to be a really good market because there's a lot of tech companies. There's just a lot of companies here with their headquarters in Dallas. So it's a good place to be a cybersecurity professional. But even if you're in a little bitty town like Corpus Christi, Texas, which is my hometown, there's still a need for cybersecurity professionals there as well.
Absolutely. So with that being said, you've scared me to death, but I want to join your webinar tonight because with kids growing up, I would love to learn more about what it takes to get in there. And I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. So what challenges are you facing right now in educating the market? You're great at educating, but what challenges are you facing?
Thank you. What challenges? Reaching the right people in the small, medium-sized business space. So as we said earlier, when you're a nonprofit, when you're a smaller company, you wear multiple hats.
Absolutely.
So when I was in corporate America, I knew my CMO was my chief marketing officer. That's the person that I need to reach out if I want marketing done. Well, at smaller companies, you might have the CFO be the CMO as well.
Absolutely.
And you might have the CFO be head of IT. As weird as it sounds, it's happened. So finding out that person that is responsible for the digital assets at the companies right now is one of my biggest challenges. Now, once I find out who that person is, right, to market to, then I can start educating. But that's actually one of my, it's not a big barrier, but it's one that I'm learning how to overcome.
Right, because there's so many different variables and so many different even businesses or industries, right?
Yes.
And your best outreach right now for expanding that breadth and education, what platform would you say is the best for expanding that information?
I'm learning that LinkedIn is a really good platform that probably 80 to 90% of the people I'm trying to reach have a LinkedIn profile. Their company, probably 100% of the companies have a LinkedIn profile. So we're reverse engineering, reaching out. But then I don't discount other platforms like Instagram, because people who are, and I think a lot of cybersecurity companies are learning this also. When you take off your work hat, you have a personal life, you have an IG account, right? And so if you get a pop-up to a cybersecurity company in IG, you might want to, click on it, check it out and see. So definitely. Yeah, I think those are probably, and I'm more comfortable with IG and Facebook and all that, probably because I'm old. But
I would not say old at all.
But LinkedIn is my number one.
Okay, I would agree with you. If I'm a business owner and I'm trying to relax in my off time but still stay focused on business, I'm going to go on there and I want to see advertisements that are going to help me or give me tips on how to protect me. Because at the end of the day, if they're really serious about it, they're going to give you a call, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely. So with that being said, one tip that you would give business owners, any business owner, small, large, medium, or nonprofit, to help protect themselves from cybersecurity, or one thing they didn't know that they need to know?
Multi-factor authentication.
Okay.
And what that is something, it's your password in combination with something that you have or something that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice your banks, nowadays all banks have multi-factor authentication. That means that you have to put a password in,
Mm-hmm.
and then they may send you to an authenticator app on your phone, or they may send you a text message on your phone with a code that you have to put in.
Mm-hmm.
On your computer now, they have the biometrics on there with the fingerprints, and your phones have the newer iPhones have the face recognition.
Yes.
Right. So that's as small, medium-sized businesses have to rely on cloud infrastructure. That means that information is not on a desktop or sitting on the hard drive of a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
They're using Workday and Salesforce and Google Docs and Google Drive and Microsoft 365, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means their data, their company data is in the cloud. So one of the best ways to protect it is to turn on. It's a pain in the butt. It is.
Thank you.
It is a pain in the butt, but it's worth it.
Right.
It's one of the best ways to protect your data. That and know where your risks are, right? Okay. Start, don't be an ostrich with your head in the sand. Start looking into where are my risks, where, most companies hopefully know their legal, regulatory risks. So if I'm a healthcare organization, I have to be HIPAA compliant.
Absolutely.
If I'm, financial organization, it's FICO and the other regulations that are out there. If you are a legal organization, you have the Cybase publicly traded companies, that type of thing. So most companies know from a legal regulatory standpoint what they have to be compliant with. Every single one of those has cybersecurity controls. Every single one. And so if you're not doing those, then you're at risk. In addition, cybersecurity insurance.
That was going to be my next question.
Yes.
I never knew there was such a thing, and forgive me because I should know. But tell me more. You can acquire cybersecurity insurance, and what does that cover?
Absolutely. So, because I don't sell insurance, I will say it will cover you in the midst of an incident or a breach. Now, think about it like this. When you get life insurance, they ask you, do you smoke? Do you skydive? Do you drive your car really fast? Right? Do you engage as a human being in any life risky activities?
Yep.
Because if you answer yes to any of those questions, your premiums are higher.
So note to everyone out there, don't answer those questions that way. But go ahead. Small fun.
Same thing, right? When you get cybersecurity insurance, they're going to ask you, do you have multi-factor authentication in place? Do you have a way to identify everybody that's in your company? Do you know where all your digital assets are? They're going to ask you these questions. Have you performed any type of risk assessment to understand where your digital risks are? And if you're answering no to those questions, one of two things will happen. They'll cover you at a higher rate, or they'll tell you no.
Wow. Just flat out no.
They'll tell you no. They'll tell you go get your act together and then come back. That's a service that I offer. Baseline controls. Let's get those baseline cybersecurity controls in place so that if you already have cybersecurity insurance, we can lower your premiums. And if you don't, you can turn that no into a yes.
Wow, that is almost necessary for every business nowadays. We're on such a digital, whether you like it or not, we're digital world now.
Yes.
And the fact that I didn't know that, now mind you, I'm in the marketing strategy part. So we have a designated person that handles our back end stuff, and she's very familiar with all of these things. But as an outsider looking in, just, talking with clients and businesses, I know we have the infrastructure, but I did not know that you could protect yourself.
Yes. Just like it's like similar to errors and omission insurance, E&O. So if you think about it from a financial aspect, because finances are done by people.
Right.
People have the propensity to make a mistake.
everyone, right?
And it's
natural.
Yeah, it's an error, right? So you have insurance that covers you in case you make a huge error that costs you a lot of money. You have insurance that covers that. It's cybersecurity insurance is similar to that because again, it's not if, it's when.
No kidding. And you'll walk them and help these small businesses and nonprofits walk through the process of obtaining what they need to do to acquire that insurance and also to get the insurance. Right?
Absolutely. And I partner with insurance agencies and brokers that offer cybersecurity insurance. So yes.
Wow. Are these mainly insurance brokers for small businesses, for commercial, or are they insurance?
They can write, most of them can write policies regardless.
Wow. That's incredible. It's great information to know as a business owner, at least. So, what is your next mission, your next cohort? What's on the horizon for you?
That's a good question.
If you don't want to tell us, that's fine.
I definitely want to tell you. I am so much looking forward to this AI that I'm building that is going to, because the product, which I have not named, I haven't given it a name yet.
And that's
I don't know what it's going to be called. This product that we're in the process of developing will be useful to other consultants like myself because one person show, even though I have a team of partners, I can multiply myself by using this particular application.
Wow.
Other consultants will be able to use the tool as well. And so will larger corporations because they have the teams, they have the people, the cybersecurity people there, that if I were to sell them an application, they can take the same thing without me and run it themselves. So that is what I am most excited about, is getting this product developed, getting it marketed and in the hands of the people to be able to use.
I would love to be your test dummy on that one, by the way. I wholeheartedly trust you.
We say pilot program.
Okay, pilot. I'd love to be
more
in your
pilot
pilot.
Test dummy.
I enjoy that. I love that. And I love that you're local and that you grew up here because it seems like you really have a passion for what you do. So if anyone wants to learn more about your education, your workshops, obtaining cyber security insurance, or any of the things that you mentioned, how can they reach you?
They can reach me through my website, which is Cybase. It's CYBASE risk.com.
Okay.
I should know my number by heart. What's I do? 858-413-RISK. There we go.
You don't call yourself very often.
I do. 858-413-RISK.
Perfect.
And you can find me on LinkedIn, Angel Mosley. And I think I'm the only Angel Mosley out there. But you'll see Cybase Risk, in the background. And I don't have an IG profile just yet. I'm working on that.
Okay.
But CybaseRiskManagement.com.
Well, I'll list all that information in the bottom of this description. And I really appreciate you educating me and our audience. And if anyone would like to reach out and be proactive about protecting yourself, please click the link below to reach Angel and get connected. Stay protected, everyone. We'll see you next time.